What is up, y'all? It's another episode. Fuck it. Man, I thought I had a theme song for this the other day that was gonna play for like maybe 10 seconds. But damn, I tried to look more into it and I was like, fuck, it's copyrighted. Ugh. It was a good song too, man. It had good guitar riffs. Like, or something like that. I can't remember. I was like, damn, man, that would have been a great kick-ass theme song to open it. Then I was like, man, I should like make my own little intro or whatever. But what else? But anyway, guys, welcome to another episode of It's Matter of Fact, hosted by me, MATTtheFUNNYman. If you don't know who I am, I'm that guy that makes jokes and rants on the internet. Hi, Simon. My cat's in here now. I don't know why. He's like, hey, you're recording. Let me come over here and jiggle my collar. Okay, he's gonna go look out the window. I'm fine with that. So, good Christ. I don't even know where to start. Where do I start? I guess work. When was this? It was like, damn, how long ago was it? I'd say at least almost a week ago. And it was the things that people try to do to steal, it baffles my brain. I'll tell you how it happened. Alright? So, a lot, like, you guys know me, I prefer to close. Mostly because I get to do stuff like this in the morning. Since I don't have to leave out till the afternoon. I got, I wake up early. I got time to kill. So, I'd say about a week ago. So, a week ago, we were just wrapping up. I was closing. And, after I made the closing announcement over the PA system, excuse me, I saw a guy, like, walking towards the sales floor, and my boss got on the radio, and she was like, Matt, did that guy just walk in here? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I just came back from making the announcements. I don't know if he was already on the floor or whatever. And when I walked back up to the front, I noticed a backpack was by the door, and I'm like, yeah, that guy just walked in. Yep. Okay, just a side note. Have you ever made a cup of coffee and you just put just the right amount of sugar and just the right amount of creamer and it tastes like God specifically made it for you? That's what this cup of coffee tastes like now. I was going to make hot coffee, but then I was like, my throat's all dry and shit. I'm like, I want iced. But anyway. So, God. So I'm assuming, because of what time it was like 10:03, 10:05 by the time I got back up front. So, it was, I was like, okay, he probably came in around that time. So, he's just walking around. So I was like, okay. I was like, let me, or not me, but my boss was like, Matt, do you mind just like standing by the door for me? Because we didn't have security. That's another thing that really angers me a little bit, is that we never really have security at night. Our loss prevention person, they only schedule a loss prevention person like in like mid-afternoonish. But I guess they figured at night they're going to be like, oh, well, they're not busy. They don't need loss prevention. I know the guy who does the schedules. He's a fucking dick. He's like one of those overweight white guys that has like that 15-year-old white kid haircut with the spiked gel hair and shit. I'm pretty sure he owns at least one of those button-up shirts with the fire going all around it. Oh, fuck that guy. But anyway, oh, hi Munch. So I stand by the door, and associates and my boss are just talking over the radio. And I guess they figured, like, I'm assuming the guy first came in, he was probably thinking, like, oh, yeah, there's some customers online. That's one thing a lot of people try to plan, or at least if they're not finished, quote-unquote, their shopping, and we've already closed for the night, if they see customers in the line, then they'll be like, oh, well, I got some time. And, I'll bring it up once, saying, like, hey, I'll tell a customer at least twice. This is the only thing I like when we don't have security is that I can walk up to them and be a complete dick. So it's like, if I've had customers piss me off all day, I get to take that out on the one rude piece of shit that wants to stay and shop after I've already announced that we're closed for the night. You are the unlucky winner that's going to take all my shit, and I get to say, hey, you're buying stuff or get out. So I guess one of the associates came up to him saying like, hey, you know, we're closed for the night. We need all the customers to go up front. We're locking up. Guy's like, oh, all right. Based on what I was told. So then I see the guy come up to the front. He has like a pair of jeans and like 2 shirts. There's like maybe 3 more people in line. So by the time there's like 1 person left in line, he gets out of the line, goes into men's shoes, and continues to look. Because lo and behold, one of the last customers was a family, and they're splitting up their transaction 20 different fucking ways. And it's kind of like, if someone like you know, that guy is planning to steal, and there's no customers but him in the store, I can at least tell the auto person like, hey, empty, you know, take all the registers. That way I have an excuse to say, hey man, the registers are gone. You got to get out, you know. But lo and behold, there was a family there, so that really, you know, it kind of kept him in here in a way. So he went to men's shoes, and usually they have a pattern. Usually the first thing they go is to men's shoes, and then they go to young men's, and then they go to men's, and then they go to big and tall, even though this guy here was like my height. So he goes back to the floor, and I'm like, all right, I had enough of this. And you know, I was gonna walk up to him, but then my boss was like, no, Matt, go ahead and just stay by the door. I got this. And I was like, all right. So while, you know, she's on her way up to confront the guy, his buddy, and I knew he was his fucking buddy, because out the corner of my eye, I saw a guy standing like outside the door, because we have like there's 2 doors. There's like the first door when you walk in, then that little middle area is kind of like a little room where, you know, it's the entrance and exit, and then, you know, you go through the second door and you're inside the store. So the guy was kind of hovering around that area, but he was outside looking in. And of course, usually if we don't have security, I'll take off my name tag, especially if it's someone that just walked in, like maybe 10 minutes before we close. They're not going to know I'm a manager. They're going to think like, oh, this guy's a radio and no badge. He's probably like security or something. And I fucking acted, man. I need to be an actor. And I'll tell you guys why. So fast forwarding back to where I was, is that, you know, after she was going to confront the guy about going back to the front after he was just told to go to the front, he walks up to the door and, like, you know, kind of like waves at me to get my attention, and, you know, I do the hands up against the neck thing, like like nah, close. It just went like that, and I saw him mouth like, you're closed, and I said yep. Then he like waves me to come here, and I'm like, bro, don't fucking. I'm like, if this guy fucking tries something, not only is he going to be on camera, but if he fucking swings at me, I'm swinging back. I'm not going to be like, oh, I need to close the door. No, I'm fucking swinging at his ass back. But luckily for the location I'm in, we get all the non-confrontational thieves. We'll get the occasional, oh, I'm going to steal, and I know you guys can't do nothing because you can't touch me unless I touch you type of thieves. But mostly we get, like, you know, where it's like, hey, I see you stealing. Drop everything and run out the store, you know? So, my fucking cat's trying to open up the cabinets. Hang on. Anyway, sorry about that, guys. So he waves me over, and I walk up to the door, and he's like, hey, man. And I was like, yes, sir, what can I do for you? He's like, hey, man, there's this guy in the parking lot harassing me. And I'm like, okay. I look in the parking lot, and I don't know, he must think I can't see that well or something. But I mean, he's got glasses on, so maybe he can see better than me. But I'm just like, I'm in my head, I'm like, there's no one in the fucking parking lot. Especially this late at night. The only people you would see in the parking lot are like either homeless people or someone just walking across the street as a shortcut. I mean, not the street, but the parking lot, you know, shortcut. And I guess because of the fact he saw me standing there, he thought I was like security or something. So I was, he was like, hey man, I got this guy harassing me. And I was like, oh man, hey, just nothing I can do, man. Sorry. He was like, oh, okay. Close the door. I stand forward. So by the time I, go back to where I was standing, my boss goes on the radio saying like, yeah, man, he's gonna try something. And I was like, why? What do you mean? She said, oh, when I confronted him to go back to the floor, he was like, oh, you guys got a lot of stuff here. I guess I came too late. And I'm like, yeah, because number one, I know you walked through the outdoor because usually when we close, we lock the indoor. So the only door that opens automatically are the customers that are leaving out. So you must have came through the outdoor, dropped your backpack, and made a beeline for the floor, which is what I'm assuming. So I'm just like, all right, yeah, this guy's definitely gonna he's gonna be a dickhead and try something. And of course, I'm not security, so if the guy runs out with something, I'm not gonna be like, hey, get back here, I'm not gonna be, be that guy. I'm gonna be like, all right, you got away with shit. But my thing is that if I know you're gonna steal, I can't legally do anything to stop you. I can't put my hands on you. The only thing I could do is say, hey man, you gonna walk out with that? Really? You're on camera, dude. Like, that's the only thing I do. I'll just talk. I'm not gonna do anything physical, or I'm not gonna, be like, hey, stop right there. I'm just gonna, because there's been plenty of people that have run out the store or walked out the store or something, and I'll be like, hey, thanks, dickhead. That's all I would do. But like I said, a lot of the thieves that we have, don't like confrontation. So if they kind of see someone standing at the door, they'll try to either most of the time they'll try to just wait you out, even though that doesn't make any sense to me, because it's like, if I am security, what makes you think I'm gonna leave before you get a chance to leave out with something? Because this happened more than once where, if I'm closing with a specific manager and they want me to stand by the door just for intimidation purposes, then, someone will just kind of like hover around the front to see if I walk away or not. And when I don't, they just drop the stuff and leave. Or they'll try to be like, oh, can you hold the stuff for me? I forgot my wallet. I'll be right back. And I'm like, you're not going to be right back. I'm just going to put the shit up. So after that, the guy again calls me to the door, his buddy. And I think what he was trying to do was to either get me to walk away from the door so he could run out. Because I'm pretty sure he was the lookout guy. Because he didn't have a backpack on him. So I'm pretty sure he was the lookout person. So waved me over again. I was like, yes sir, what can I do for you? But I kind of made it come off like I was getting annoyed by this guy. Like, dude, like, fuck off. He was like, hey man, is there a back door I can go through? This guy like won't leave me alone. And I'm like, oh, sorry man, all the doors are gated and locked up for the night. I can't unlock them. Sorry. I was like, dude, I said, if there's a guy out there harassing you, man, call the cops. So that's all I can tell you. Unless this is, this was when my acting got better. I was like, unless there's something going on in the store, but, I can do something about it. But if it's in the parking lot, I can't do nothing about that, man. Sorry. Close the door. Walk back to where I was standing. So the guy gets back and he's hovering around the queuing area where the line is. Just looking at shit. So by this time, I was like, can someone get the auditor on the radio or on the phone or something? Tell him to just come up front and start taking the registers. Because if there's no money in the registers, I have an excuse to kick this guy out. Of course, that fucking family's still there. Ringing up 15 different transactions. Fuck. So, by the third fucking time, while this guy's still kind of hovering around, but I guess he went back to the floor because he knew I wasn't going anywhere. So he was probably like, I'm gonna go back to the floor, distract the guy for me, or whatever. Guy again waves me over. I didn't even say nothing this time I opened up the door. He was like, man, this guy's threatening me with violence. And I'm like, alright, first of all, no one says, hey, someone's threatening me with violence. No one ever says that. This is how I know. I'm like, this guy must be on something, and he has very poor choice of words. This man is threatening me with violence. A normal person would be like, hey, this guy's trying to kick my ass. He's like, I'm in fear for my life. And I was like, hey, man, sorry. I can't do nothing about that. It's in the parking lot. I can't do nothing about it, man. I was like, if it's escalating, I was like, call the cops, man. He's like, can you call the cops for me? And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. So I did my fake radio thing like I got on the radio. Like I got in touch with another security person. And I was like, hey, man, what's your name? He's like, Jerry. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's probably a fake fucking name. You don't look like a fucking Jerry. I just made up a name. I was like, hey, Jason, we have a customer here named Jerry who says he's getting harassed in the parking lot. You mind calling the police for me? I waited for like 5 seconds. I was like, thanks, man, appreciate it. Close the door. So by the time his buddy inside the store just got so frustrated because of the fact that I wasn't going anywhere, and my boss again, he tried to make his way back to the floor. My boss was like, hey, man, you can't be on the floor. Like, flat, you can't be on the floor. And I'm pretty sure she was like, if you're not going to buy none, then you have to leave. Because we're closed. So by then, he got up to the front, dropped some clothes off at one of the registers, walked towards his backpack, started fidgeting through it, and I'm like, oh, bro, please don't try nothing. Please don't. I mean, if he was going to pull a gun or something, I'm like, hey, man, take what you want. Whatever. My job's not worth it. Then he got behind me, and I'm like, bro, don't do that. So I kind of turned to the left, and I usually keep a box cutter in my back pocket in case I have to open up anything. Hold on. Oh, I'm congested today. And so I kind of had, my hand in my pocket, but kind of had my thumb towards my back pocket holding my box cutter. So I'm like, if this guy tries to, if he pulls out a weapon and tries to stab me or something, he's getting stabbed back. I don't even give a shit. But yeah, he just fiddled with his backpack again behind me on the bench or whatever. Then he walked out the door, didn't say a word. After that, my boss just walked up right after he left. And they both kind of turned around for a second, but they didn't, they didn't leave. So my boss was just like, fuck it. Locked the door behind him. So, fast forwarding another fucking 5 minutes. It's almost 10:20 at this point. 10:15, 10:20. And that family's still fucking there. But at this point, I'm not upset because of the fact that the family was still there, but it's like, those two guys were still hanging around in that entryway. Just standing there. And I kind of got a little bit more towards the front because I'm like, the door's locked. That guy's not going to fucking do nothing unless he wants to be a shithead and break the glass. But I said I doubt he'll do anything like that. But, me and my boss walked a little bit more to the front, and it sounded like I could hear, him trying to, shake the door. Dude, don't try to, bro. But of course, at this point, we already called the cops and was like, "Hey, man, these guys won't leave. We're fearing, because at first, if you're like, hey, these two guys won't leave the property, the cops are going to be like, oh, well, okay, whatever. Hey, we're trying to catch rapists and thieves and shit. For trespassing, they're going to take their sweet fucking time. But I was just like, just tell them we fear for our lives right now. The guy's been rumbling around his background. I was like, say all that shit, they'll come. But of course, before we got the chance to even get in touch with the fucking police, there's I can't think of the word. There's a security company that patrols the entire property, because it's my store with a combination of other stores, buildings attached and stuff like that. So it's one big open parking lot. So normally they have one or two security cars drive around and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure when when the family was just about done with their purchase and walked to the front, I was like, hey, are those guys gone? And she was like, oh yeah, that security car's driving around, so they probably just left. I was like, fine, good. Because, that family had, 2 kids and, a baby with them. And last thing you want is to try to open up the door when you got 2 possibly crackheads or something, or high on... Meth is pretty popular in Vegas, so I'll say meth heads. Just standing there and then following them to the fucking their car or whatever. But luckily enough, they left, so... That was the thing. I felt good. That felt so good. I felt so accomplished. And we got a good survey about the store, so I was like, man, got a survey during my shift and stop 2 meth heads from stealing. I'm the fucking bomb. I felt good. I felt really, really good. But that was one of the highlights of my week. Not too much has really been going on, really. Not really. Oh, hi, Munch. Hi, baby. Kitty wants to talk to me. Yeah, I know. You have food. You have food. Oh, she's leaving now. She probably just wanted to say hi. I'm like, hi! Meow! Oh, these fucking cats, man. But, I guess the next biggest highlight is fucking kids, man. Not, kids, any specific kind of kids, but just fucking these kids that live in this complex. Because we've had new neighbors, I'd say for, I don't know, 3-4 months? I'd say 4 months. And they're, okay, so I'll give you the background before I, continue on, is that, so, it's a family of God knows how many, alright? It's the mom and dad, 3 kids, a baby, and possibly a grandmother of one of the 2, of one of the mom or the dad. 2 little dogs, and 1 big fucking mixed breed of a husky and another big animal. It doesn't look like a husky, it looks like another big type of dog, but it's really furry. It might be another breed of husky, maybe. But fucking Jesus Christ, that's too. And keep in mind, all the buildings, or at least the area, the building that we live in, majority of the buildings in that area are all 1 bedrooms. So I know the one across from us is a fucking 1 bedroom. And I'm like, what the fuck? And keep in mind, when it's fully furnished, it's a little small. Because, since we got 2 cats now, plus, all the furniture that we've gotten in the last, year and a half, 2 years, we're like, holy shit, yeah, this 1 bedroom's fucking small. So just think, 2 adults and 2 cats. We feel like we don't, it's it's small. So just imagine, 4 fucking kids, a grandmother, and 2 adults, and 3 fucking dogs in 1 apartment. 1 bedroom apartment. Think about that. Alright. When you actually sit there and think about it. What the fuck? That's a nope. That's a whole lot of nope. But, there's this fucking kid. And I already told Preacher about this, and I'm like, I think I'm getting old at a young age. That's what I like to call them. I think I'm getting old at a young age. Because I'm not even fucking 30 yet. And I'm already saying shit like, these fucking kids today. I'm 28 and I'm like, these fucking kids with their fucking skateboard. I'm going to be a very grouchy, no fucks given old man. I can already see it now. Oh, man. But this fucking kid... I'm only like this because our complex has 2 pool areas, 2 separate playgrounds, and 1 or 2 basketball courts. One towards the front and one in the back. Same thing with the playgrounds, and 2 pools, same thing. So I'm like, there's plenty of fucking places to hang out. Versus back when I used to live in the manor, that's what all the neighborhood kids called it, was the manor. There was one fucking playground. There was no basketball court, nothing. So, of course, obviously, all the teens and kids and parents would all hang out in that one area. But it's kind of like here, there's like kind of like no fucking excuse. And it's like, this one kid has a skateboard. I don't have an issue with that. What I have an issue with is that it makes so much fucking noise is because I guess the way the building, or at least my building setup is that it's not like super like open, but it's not super enclosed, but it's like when this kid's like doing standing skateboard tricks, it fucking echoes so loud. Cause it's like boom, boom, like you can hear him jumping off the skateboard to do a trick and then landing it. And I'm like, what the? Because when I first heard it, I'm like, what the fuck was that? I'm thinking something crashed on my patio or something. So when I go look, I see this, and I'm like, oh, I don't see them. And I kept hearing the noise. So I'm like, let me go see what the fuck it is. So I walk out the door, and it's like this kid on a skateboard. I'm like, oh, that's what the fuck it is. So this kid, like, and keep in mind, if he was at least nailing these tricks, I probably wouldn't be as mad. But the kid is fucking up every single trick. So just think, it's been 4 straight months of this kid fucking up tricks, not getting any better. And I'm like, come on, dude. So then, later on, this kid started having friends over and shit. And of course, because of the fact that they have so many fucking people in that apartment, of course there's not going to be enough room for him and his 6-7 other friends. So you know what they do? They all hang out in that one little fucking tiny ass little middle area. So 9 times out of 10, half these kids are leaning up against my door. So when they're like, oh man, fuck you! Like, I'm hearing this and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, half the times if I'm like trying to record a video or whatever, these kids are like yelling out. Keep in mind, these kids are not like teens or nothing. These kids are like in middle elementary school, yelling about pussy, fucking shit and all that. And I'm like, come on, man. I mean, like, I was kind of like that, but shit, I wasn't like, pussy motherfucker, I wasn't, yelling out, like, every other sentence was fuck. Like, half these kids were talking like they were, like, my age. And I'm like, nobody want to hear all that? And my thing is, it's like, I'm pretty sure the kid's parents across from us don't give a shit. So I'm like, well, we have, like, a person above us and a person above them, the people across from us. There's, like, me and 2 other people. Why aren't these 2 other people complaining about this fucking noise? I mean, at least when I hung out with my friends and we weren't at the playground, we just hung in front of, like, one of their porches or whatever. We weren't laughing and carrying on and all that. Or if we were inside the apartment. And so this would go on. And then a lot of times, for some reason, I guess it's kind of like an L shape. Between, like, my porch is the beginning of the L. Then going down towards the, if you're making, like, the line going down. Not down, but across to finish the capital L. That's where my bedroom window is. And a lot of times they like to stand right there. I'm like, you're right in front of a window, dude. Like, if it was in front of your window, fine. But, like, you have people that live in this area, like, it's right in front of the window you're standing next to, and you're doing all that loud carrying on shit, and I'm, like, either trying to edit or relax or sleep, and they got kids, like, just yelling at the top of their lungs, and I'm like, come on now. There's 2 playgrounds, a basketball court, fucking 2 pool areas. Hang out fucking there, man. Don't hang out in front of my fucking window making all that fucking noise. A lot of the times, if I'm recording something, is when they're fucking doing it. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, I'm not going to be a shithead and call the cops saying, like, hey, there's fucking kid, I'm not going to be that type of person. But I'm just like, you know what? Every now and then, I'll be like, whatever, they're kids, But at the same time, the old person in me is like, there's fucking playgrounds and basketball courts to hang out. Why are they in front of your fucking window, Matt? Go tell them to fuck off. you know? And of course I'm like, yeah, but at the same time, last thing I want is to cuss out the neighbors across from me, kids, saying, you're cussing from my kid, and then, you know, it just gets worse, and I kind of want to avoid that. I don't really want to have to deal with that shit. I mean, if they lived, like, somewhere else in the complex, then they wouldn't find me, but, you know. But, yeah, man, I couldn't it's so fucking annoying. So, yesterday was kind of like the point where I'm like, okay, yeah, this shit's got to end. I'm done. So, you know, it was like, you know, kind of afternoonish. Probably around the time kids get out of school. They were hanging out, but, you know, I was in the bedroom. But, God, man, they were so fucking loud. Like, I could be, like, in the bedroom with the TV turned up almost halfway turned up. And I would hear, fuck, shut your bitch ass up. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Come on, man. You shut your bitch ass up. Nobody wants to hear all that shit, man. And my wife just got off work. I'm like, I want to relax with her. Fuck. It's my day off before I gotta go back to work. Come on now. But I was like, you know what? I'm like, this is the fucking last straw. I'm like, if they fucking try anything besides yelling, I'm fucking going out there. I was like, no, Matt, don't do that. Don't do that. I'm like, no, because I'm fucking... like, nobody wants to... And, like, ever since that kid has been bringing his friends over and they're hanging out, you're hearing this shit for, like, 3 hours. 3 to 4 hours. Then by, like, 6 o'clock, they disband. You know? And I'm like, I don't want to hear, fuck you, fuck you talking. Like, you know, I don't want to hear all that for 3-4 hours. When I'm trying to relax, I don't want to hear that shit. And I'm just like, why the fuck aren't these other neighbors that, like, are, like, above us not fucking saying anything? Because I know the neighbors that live above me, it's like a guy and a girl and their baby. You think your baby wants to wake up and hear all that shit? I wouldn't want my baby to hear all that. You know? I don't know, but I'm just like, whatever. So, like, I don't know, I guess like an hour and a half, they must have been like really fucking bored. Because they decided to take it upon themselves to start throwing rocks at my fucking door. And like on my fucking porch. And I'm like, what is that? I'm hearing, ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? So I get up and I look through my peephole, and I hear these kids laughing, and they're like, oh yeah, pick up more, pick up more. Like, so just think, you have like 6-7 kids throwing fucking rocks at my door and porch, and I'm like, are you fucking joking? I'm like, there's no fucking way. I'm like, you know, you're doing the thing where you rub your eyes to see better. I'm doing that, but, you know, I'm seeing through the peephole, and I'm like, did I hear this correctly? Like, oh yeah, pick up more, pick up more. Laughing, throwing rocks on my fucking porch and on my fucking door. And I'm like, I said, I had enough of this shit. She was like, what you know? I'm like, I'm gonna fucking tell those kids to go fuck off somewhere. She's like, no, don't do that. She's like, we'll just call the office. We'll call the office. And I was like, I'm about to call the fucking cops. She's like, no, we'll just call the office. It's not all that serious. I was like, alright, but I'm gonna give those apartment people 5 fucking minutes. If they don't show up, I'm gonna show up. So she calls saying like, hey, you know, we got kids that, you know, are being extremely loud and throwing rocks on our porch and door. Not even 3 fucking minutes. We hear a woman like all that. Just like that. Like dead fucking silence. I was like, shit. Because I stood in the living room like hearing all this, just getting angrier and angrier, saying, I'm like, 3 more minutes. You know, I'm like looking at the clock. I'm like, I have my sweatpants. I got my shirt and everything. I was about to say, will y'all motherfuckers take this shit somewhere fucking else? Don't come over here with all that shit. Y'all got 2 playgrounds and a basketball court, 2 pool areas. Y'all do that shit over there. But dead fucking silence. And I guess the woman was kind of far away, because I couldn't really hear her. All I heard was the noise complaints. You don't even live here. I'm gonna call the police. I'm like, oh shit. I was like, that escalated quickly. Like, instantly, I calmed down, and at this point, I'm fucking laughing. I'm like, ha ha ha. Like, I was this, like that one kid in classroom that snitched on all my other classmates. I'm like, ha 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 ha, bitches. I'm like, yeah, get the fuck out of here. Because I'm pretty sure they were the type of kids, like, you know, if you don't call them out on their shit, they're just going to keep fucking doing it. That's what kids do. That's what I did when I was a kid. I kept doing it until I got called out for it. So, but here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. After I heard police, and then I heard like footsteps walking away. Like all I heard was like a bunch of footsteps just like walking. Apparently, one of the other kids that the kids below, like across from us, they live above them, I believe. Or they could have just hit the bar in anger. I don't know. But it sounded like they live above them. I'm not 100% sure because, you know, I don't like to be, you know, all exposed like, yeah, I did it, you know. But, told my wife, I was like, oh, that was so good. I was like, I feel a lot better now. I was like, maybe those kids will find somewhere else to fucking hang out. But here's the kicker. Majority of those fucking kids, I saw them walking out of the complex. So most of those fucking kids don't even fucking live here. So I'm like, you're doing all that shit and throwing rocks at my fucking, you know, porch, possibly breaking my window and at my door, and you don't even fucking live here? Y'all need to get the fuck out and don't come back. Because whenever I hung out with my friends in, you know, the complex that they lived in, I never did all that shit. I never threw rocks at people, starting shit with people that live there. That's a trespassing charge. I mean, it's a misdemeanor, but still. Last thing you want is, how'd you get, you know, like, oh yeah, I got a police record. Oh, I was throwing rocks at this one guy's door and I got locked up for it. You know? You know? I mean, I doubt because, you know, it's a kid, so I doubt they'll toss him in juvie or anything for like some dumb shit like that, but yeah, like, if you don't, like, and this is another thing, especially when it comes to complex, you know, apartments, even if your kid is hanging out with someone and someone else does damage to the property, that kid's parents are held as a, you know, what's the word? A liability. Like, they're responsible, like, you know, if they're hanging out with the kids that don't live here, they bust up someone's car. They call the office and they're like, oh, was your kid hanging out with these kids? They're like, oh yeah, they're their friends. They're like, oh, well then you have to pay damages for this fucking person's car because you're responsible for them. You know? And of course, I'm pretty sure those parents don't give a shit. I'm pretty sure that kid didn't tell his mom and dad, like, oh yeah, these apartment people came in and told my friends to get out and we got in trouble. You know? I seriously doubt it. But I don't fucking, like, really? Like, y'all don't live here? And it's like, why would you even want to have friends that even do that shit? Like, those kids could have got, that kid that lived across from us could have got his folks in trouble. Could have paid a fine, especially if one of those kids happened to bust a window. They would have got fined for that. Or possibly kicked out of the complex. And people that have kids don't fucking think about that type of shit. That's why, like, at least out here, based on, like, how I've seen kids at my job, these people, like, a lot of people, maybe it's certain people, I don't know, but, like, anyone who comes to my job, 9 times out of 10 can't find their kids, or their kid is just rampaging through the store. Tearing shit, throwing shit. Like, I remember this one time where, the loss prevention guy found this kid and was like, hey, where are your parents? And, I guess the kid didn't I guess the kid didn't want to talk to him. So he was trying to find the parents. And when he found them, I don't know if they spoke English or not. It was like this Hispanic woman. I guess it was her kid. I said I guess it was her kid. Hispanic lady's kid. Maybe she didn't speak English or anything. But, you know, he said he acknowledged him. Like, you know. I guess. I don't know. But, you know, he was just like, hey, you know, you need to keep your eye on your kid. Just grabbed the kid and just walked away. Didn't say thank you or nothing. And the guy was like, I can't believe this. Like, really? Like, someone could have just snatched up your fucking kid. No fucks given. And I think that's like, I'm pretty sure that's like anybody, like Walmart, Toys R Us. Well, I can't say Toys R Us, they're about to close. But like any place of business, they just let their kids like go free and stuff. That's why like a lot of businesses have like, you know, hey, if you have a kid that's 13 years old or younger, needs to be accompanied by an adult at all times. Because they know their kids are just going to run rampage in the store and tear everything apart. Especially like the toy area. God forbid a kid doesn't like take a ball out of its packaging and fucking toss it around, knocking other shit over. I don't know. Maybe it's like specific people, but it's a large group of people that just don't give a fuck if their kids. It's like when they're in the car or like at home, they have to behave. But God forbid they go somewhere else. They're like, all right, run around, do whatever. Because I remember back when I was a little bad. My mom was like, she was like, don't you dare act a fool. We're going to buy this stuff. Don't say nothing. Don't do nothing. We're going to get our stuff. Get back in the car, go home. Don't say you want this. We're not gonna buy nothing. We're coming here to get this one thing. We're gonna get it, leave, and go home. I don't know. It makes me not want to live on this planet anymore. But I couldn't believe it. Like, I was relieved. I'm like, good, those kids might not fucking come back. Especially if that, you know, that lady was like, sounded very sassy. I'm pretty sure it was like one of those sassy ladies at the receptionist desk in the office. She was very sassy. She was being a very sassy Susie. Like, I'm going to call the cops. Like, oh, go ahead, girl. But yeah, I was just so baffled. I'm like, why would you do that? And I'm thinking, like, this is the part when this is when she pointed out, like, you know, you're sounding like you're an old man, Matt. It's like, these kids today, that's what I literally said. And she was like, really, honey? I was like, I'm sorry, I'm going to sound like an old man, but I'm like, kids today, they got Xboxes, they got iPhones, tablets, and they sit there and be quiet. This isn't 1987 where kids are just throwing rocks at a garbage can because they have nothing else to do. They have options. We have electronics. There's stuff that they can play with, sit down, and be quiet. Like, seriously. Yeah, man. I mean, it hasn't been 24 hours since it happened, but I leave for work in the afternoon, so we'll see. I already told my wife yesterday. I was like, those kids come back and they do all that hollering and all that. Call the office again. Because I'm pretty sure after a second call for the same exact incident 24 hours later, they're eventually just gonna ban those kids from coming to the complex. And of course, you already know that's not going to go well, because I'm pretty sure those kids' parents are going to come up to the complex saying, like, oh, yeah, my kid just told me you banned them. And they're like, well, we're getting complaints from tenants and all that. And, you know, obviously they're not going to be able to do nothing about it, saying, like, neighbors have been complaining about them making noise and throwing rocks at people's doors. My kid would never do that. It's always the worst badass kids that have the parents that will fucking defend them, and it's so sad. Because it's probably because they're probably such a good little boy and girl when they're at home, but they're a fucking total shitbag when they leave the house. Oh, delicious coffee. But, hey man. I still have hope for this generation. Next generation, not so much. I don't know. Back in my day, we got disciplined. Back in my day, my mom whooped my ass once. After that, she just gave me looks. That's how my mom did it. I got my ass whooped once. After that, growing up, or at least before I became a cocky-ass teenager, you know, my mom would just give me that, you know, quick neck turn thinking that she's going to try to suicide neck twist. Like, quick turn of the neck. Those dead eyes staring into my soul. And I'm like, I'll be good. Yeah, I don't know. These kids and their fucking cassette tapes. Ugh. Like, I want to live to see 80, but man, people on this planet aren't helping. I want to live to see 90, maybe even 100. I'm going to have, like, no blood pressure at this point because it went up so high, it just went into the negatives. I don't know, can it go high in the negatives, or does it have to go below to go in the negatives? I guess it depends what kind of math you're looking into. But, yeah, those have been the only two main highlights since the last podcast, really. We had one guy that, I don't know if that was really a highlight. I mean, we had one guy that walked out, and he got into his escape vehicle. Well, first he was like a guy that had like 18 different colors on his jacket. It was like green, white, black, red, blue, yellow, navy blue, a weird ass haircut, dark sunglasses. He hovered around the purses, looking around, looking all obvious. But of course, I wasn't near the front. I was helping a customer. The guy grabbed like 3 or 4 purses, jumped, you know, ran out the door, jumped on a skateboard, and just skateboarded down the parking lot. I'm like, what an escape vehicle. Fucking skateboard. I think that was the future telling me, like, hey, you're gonna have a problem with people on skateboards. Lo and behold, it was the fucking kid that lived across from me. Ugh. My thing with thieves is, like, don't come to a like, we're considered a discount retail. Don't fucking, you know, if you're gonna fucking steal, go to a fucking legit place, because I don't even know if we get knockoff shit or not. I don't actually take the time to look at it, but who's to say we're not getting knocked off shit? I mean, for what I'm told, if the merchandiser of whatever, you know, brand it is can't sell it at their particular place, they send it out to us and we discount it. Kind of like the same way markdowns work. It's like, you know, hey, if you got too much, you know, stock, you know, you got to mark that shit down. But I guess, you know, those top companies like Michael Kors and all that, you know, they're like, well, I'm not going to mark down a $400 purse to $300. That's preposterous. Send it to one of the discount retailers. Let them do it. And we fucking mark it down to like 100 or 150, you know? Like, steal from there, you know? Don't come here and do that shit. Because if you steal from us, I'm going to give you a hard time. I'm going to stand in front of the door. So that way I remember your face. And I can make a condescending comment toward you. Like, hey, thanks, dickhead. Have a good one. I think the last time someone walked out and I said something, I was like, hey, thanks, shithead, and you're on camera. And they just, like, looked back at me and kept walking, because obviously you're not going to come back into the store to talk shit to me. Like, how are you going to steal and walk back in with the product? What you say? Because ever since I started doing that, I'm like, oh, that's when I realized, I'm like, oh yeah, these things aren't confrontational. They just want to get the shit and run out so they don't get caught. Oh, boy. But I got bragged about, you know. My boss was like, let me take your picture. Proud of you, Matt. But yeah, it was good. Good stuff. But, I guess for, like, all that, you know, I'm just gonna do my thing. Gonna go to work today. I don't know. But I think that wraps it up for this episode of It's a Matter of Fact. Hopefully I can find a theme song. I don't know. I got some old beats from back in the day that's not copyrighted, so maybe I'll use that. Play it for 10 seconds. Play it over and be like, it's a matter of fact, 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 fact. But anyways, I hope all you guys have a wonderful day, or whenever this goes up. I don't know. I just uploaded a video yesterday, so this might be out in a few days. But I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, wonderful day, wonderful night. Stay safe, and I will see you guys in the next podcast.